In the Xbox 360's life cycle of receiving new games, a lot of titles were released as arcade games, often indie and or budget games that were usually $10 or less. And today I will be looking at 5 awesome Xbox 360 arcade games that are backwards compatible on modern hardware. Timestamps in the description. This is not a top 5 best games, just 5 games that I think you should check out. And in no particular order, the first game on our list is the legendary Plants vs. Zombies. The most popular game on this list probably, Plants vs. Zombies took the world by storm after the PC release was moved to mobile platforms. Yes, it was initially a PC game, and it was so successful that PopCap, the developers, decided to take a crack at console ports, and it found its way to the Xbox 360, DS, and PS3, with the Xbox/PlayStation versions having content exclusive to this home console release. And this title offers a ton of content for its beyond reasonable price of $4.99, and I have easily sunk 25 to 30 hours into the Xbox version alone. Gameplay-wise, it's an insanely creative tower defense game, where you're a person trying to defend your house from the zombie apocalypse using plants powered by sunshine. That is just very innovative, and there are multiple chapters, such as daytime, pool, and roof chapters that all require a different strategy to overcome. Mix that in with the mini-games every 5 levels, and the constant introduction of new plants and enemies on your first playthrough, it never gets old and has a lot to offer. And once you have finished the main story, you can play through it again, using plants from any level, on any level. But wait, there's more. A lot more. Plants vs. Zombies has a boatload of additional game modes, creative mini-games, a puzzle mode, survival modes, the Zen Garden where you can farm money and listen to relaxing music. There's a store where you can buy cool stuff from the funny Crazy Dave, like plant upgrades or the Tree of Wisdom. There are leaderboards, you can buy a little house to show off to your friends, the list goes on and on. Plants vs. Zombies is a gift that keeps on giving. This $5 title offers way more content than some $50 AAA games of the time. Hello, Rogue Warrior. The controls are simple and easy to understand. The game is cute, funny, and absolutely rocks the cartoon graphics, with a legendary soundtrack in addition to having fun achievements. And this title even has a co-op and versus mode, where you can play the Walnut Bowling minigame with a friend, or go up against each other in a PvP game, with one person controlling plants and the other taking the reins of the undead, although it's sadly limited to couch co-op and versus without online multiplayer options, but my wife and I had fun playing this together. This title was developed by PopCap and published by the same company, and it even received a physical release, believe it or not. I give this game a 10 out of 10 by my grade scale. Combining my time with the Xbox and the DS version, I've probably put somewhere between 200 to 300 hours into this game, and it is 110% worth picking up if you haven't played it already. Link in the description if you want to check out my entire 20-minute retrospective. I like Plants vs. Zombies, you like Plants vs. Zombies, everyone likes this game, and it undoubtedly left a huge mark on the world of gaming. A great title, on to the next one. The second game on my list is a lesser known title for sure, and that is Unbound Saga. This game was released digital only in the year 2010 for the Xbox 360 and 2009 for the PlayStation Portable, and with the PSP store closed, this game can only be legitimately acquired on Xbox consoles for the price of $9.99. This 2.5D beat 'em up is overall pretty enjoyable. It's short and ends before it got stale, holding 10 levels that each took me about 15-ish minutes to complete. You have your choice of 2 playable characters, Rick and Lori, which you can switch between at any time by pressing LB, and the two are very different from each other, with Rick being a bit more of a juggernaut, moving slow but with more health and dealing heavier damage than Lori. But Lori is faster, she can heal herself and turn invisible. possible, and I think the two characters really do complement each other. I personally usually played as Rick and swapped to Lori for boss fights due to her being able to patch herself up, and I also used her in the endless survival mode for that same reason. I should note that there is a co-op mode, both online and couch co-op, with 2 achievements being locked behind this MP mode, and I managed to convince my wife to play 1 level with me, and she seemed to have fun while playing. So if you can't find anyone online, you can try to get your spouse to play it with you, or maybe your cat if you're not married. The controls took some getting used to, but are manageable with a bit of practice, or you can just button mash your way through the game. You can really play this one however you want. You can either mindlessly hit B a million times, or take a more creative approach, doing cool wrestling moves, punching and kick combos, and throwing items at your opponent, with a decent variety of foes and several boss fights, in addition to having a decent upgrade system. The story was really entertaining, about Rick and Lori trying to escape from the comic book world after getting fed up with, quote, the creator, yanking around their lives. I won't give away the ending here, but you probably won't see it coming. And again, the story was very entertaining with a lot of little jokes tossed in here and there. And both Rick and Lori are very well thought out characters who I definitely enjoyed. The comic book style graphics look great in my opinion, with a lot of attention to detail. The voice actors are good, with a absolutely amazing soundtrack, which can be purchased on Bandcamp for $9. Yeah, it's good, but I'm not paying almost the same price as the game for just the OST. I'll stream it on YouTube or something like that. And if you play this title on original hardware, being a 360, you can unlock 2 really cool avatar items, being a t-shirt and a stack of comic books, which both look really cool in my opinion, and they're easy to acquire. In conclusion, I think Unbound Saga is a hidden gem, and while not the best beat 'em up on the 360, it rightfully earns a 8 out of 10 by my grade scale, although maybe wait for a sale if you're not a huge fan of this genre, as $10 does almost seem a hair steep to me. $7 or $8 sounds a much fairer price in my opinion. This game was developed by Voxter Entertainment, and as a side note, looking at the leaderboards, it appears that less than 40,000 people ever played this game, making it a pretty niche title to say the least. Alrighty, on to the next game. Batting up next is a game that you've probably heard of called Hexic HD, a free puzzle game developed by Carbonated Games and published by Microsoft. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this game came downloaded for free on some 360 consoles. I got mine used, so I can't confirm this personally. This is a very creative match 3 game with a lot of content for an arcade game that is free, in addition to being surprisingly fun. Unlike most match 3 games, which make you connect items horizontally and vertically, Hexic is a little bit different, requiring you to form clusters of 3 or more hexagons, and there are various special hexagons, like bombs, which you have to eliminate in a set amount of moves, or else they end your game, or the star flower, created by making a circle, almost, of same colored hexagons without one being in the middle, unlocking an achievement for your first star flower, and they can be used to move all hexagons touching it by one space, if that makes sense. Basically, if you have a star flower and you want to rotate it, all connected pieces will rotate as well, which can be pretty useful. And in order to beat this game's story mode, aka marathon mode, you need to make a cluster of 3 black pearls, or a flower of pearls, formed by making a circle of star flowers. But looking at achievements, it appears the vast majority of players, myself included, never pulled this off, so please forgive me if my information is a hair wrong. This game has 3 modes: Marathon, Timed, and Survival, and each hold 3 difficulties, with higher difficulties giving you more points per match, but at the price of, Well, increased difficulty, like having more frequent bombs and less time to deal with them. I already went over the marathon mode, but to be honest, I never really tried that hard to beat the game. This has always been more of a just chill and try to get a high score game for me. As for the time mode, it's about what it sounds like. You fight a timer by making matches to add time while trying to get the highest score possible. Not a lot to it. The survival mode is slightly more complex. And when I say complex, I mean it's barely more complex. It has the same core gameplay of the other modes, matching threes to rack up points, but you win the survival mode by eliminating all the pieces on the board, and it's a wave-based mode, like all the other modes. A wave ends when either A, you manage to clear out all the pieces on the board, B, there are no more possible moves available, causing unused pieces to lock on the board, or C, the board is full of locked pieces and you can't do anything. Locked pieces are about what they sound like, pieces locked in place and unable to be rotated. But you can unlock them by forming a cluster either with them or next to them, so it's all good. I reckon that largely sums up the gameplay. A nice little time waster for sure, although it has some tough achievements. The graphics look great, with a pretty good soundtrack, simple controls, and good sound effects. I give this game a 8.8 out of 10 by my grade scale. Literally no reason to not try this one, as it's free, takes up almost no space, and on original hardware, it gives you free gamer picks for playing it. I have some nostalgia for this game, as I put a fair amount of time into it in middle school. Good times, Joe. Alrighty, the next game I want to discuss is definitely a lesser known title, and that is Girl Fight, a 3D fighting game developed by Kung Fu Factory and published by Majesco, did I say that right? And it can currently be purchased for $9.99, a price well worth paying. This is a all-girl fighting game, and while some have called it bare bones, I find beauty in its simplicity. It's listed as an arcade fighting game, and that's pretty much what it is. No complex 16-move combos or a 20-plus character roster. Just a small little fighting game that I have easily put at least 30 hours into, as it's really a lot of fun. This game has 3 single-player modes, being a practice mode, a single battle mode, and an arcade mode, which is the closest thing Girl Fight has to a story mode. You go up against every character in the game except the one you chose, followed by a boss, which is the character Chrome with a healing factor, and little tiny tidbits of the story are dropped in between battles. As far as PvP modes, there's a local versus, which I played with my wife, and online versus, and after checking well over a dozen times, the lobbies are dead. Although pause here, if anyone watching this owns Girl Fight on the 360, please reach out to me on social media or in the comments, as I really want to get the one online MP achievement, which requires another person. I'll be more than happy to help you out in return. Okay, back to the review. The roster consists of 8 characters, with Chaos being my favorite, as she is very well balanced, followed by Wrench, who's a bit harder to control but has some really strong kicks and grabs, and Shogun was probably my least favorite character, as she's kinda sluggish with weak punches and kicks, although she does have some nice grab attacks. Each girl has 3 costumes total, 1 default and 2 purchasable from the store. You earn currency in a number of ways, like winning battles, using special moves, getting a decent combo going, just stuff like that, and in addition to purchasing the aforementioned skins, you can also buy concept art, bio entries, new powers, and power upgrades. The power system was very interesting, as in most fighting games, powers or abilities are locked to a single character, but in Girl Fight, you can mix and match powers and use any ability with any character. There are 8 powers in total, with 3 tiers for each ability, and landing blows in combat charges up your power meter, and higher tier powers drain more energy than lower tier ones, but they have better effects. My personal favorite power was probably Phase Shift, which lets your character heal while being transparent. But there are definitely other useful abilities, like Steel Skin, which reduces incoming damage, or Life Leech, which allows you to take a bit of your opponent's health with every landed blow. I guess that largely sums up the gameplay. Graphically, it looks pretty good, and the soundtrack is actually enjoyable. Story-wise, there is a story for anyone who wants to piece together all the bios and arcade messages, but I didn't feel like going to the trouble. In conclusion, Girl Fight is a simple, fun, 3D fighting game that is exactly what a game should be. Simple fun with no microtransactions or DLCs. This title earns a 8.9 out of 10 by my grade scale, and is one of my favorite fighting games on the 360. Going to the final title on today's list, we have Pac Man. Published and developed by Namco, does this classic arcade game even need introducing? It's Pac Man. You run around an arena trying to eat pellets and rack up the highest score possible, while doing your best to avoid being hit by Ghost, who can one-hit you, run out of lives, and game over. Not much to it, although I will admit I myself have never been that good at Pac Man. Is there anything that makes this version of the game special? Other than being able to start from any level you've reached? Not really. It has some achievements, and you can adjust the screen size and its location. That's it really. This port runs smooth as silk and is small in size, so an ideal game if you're a bit low on storage. This port is normally $4.99, and it earns a 8.5 out of 10 from me. Not my favorite arcade cabinet game, with Space Invaders or Soul Calibur being a couple of my favorites, but it's always nice to hop on and enjoy some good old Pac Man. And that is all from me for today, folks. Let me know what you think of my list, and tell me some of your favorite BC Xbox 360 arcade games. Again, this is not a top 5 best, just 5 games I think anyone should give a spin. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and or subscribe if you want to be notified when part 2 comes out, which I will be working on. Anyways, hope everyone has a great day. Always remember that Jesus loves you all very much. Take it easy. Peace.